Hi everybody, back at UVA. This is Kristen Kelly and we're here for Broadway Talks Back at Waitress the Musical on Broadway. So today I have two very special guests. If you guys want to introduce yourselves and your role in the show.
Sure.
I'm Natasha Yvette Williams and I play Becky.
I'm Arica Jackson and I'm the swing.
So we are so lucky to be here. Waitress is open for a few more months on Broadway, so make sure you come see it before it closes. Yes, January 5th. If you're gonna be there on that day, so will I. So come and say hello. But you know, I obviously Waitress has been a very big proponent of Broadway Talks Back, and so it's really special to highlight the waitress stories. So we want to go through the different experiences that people have in the show, whether being a principal, whether being a swing, and I think it's really important that this show gets all the credit it deserves before it closes on Broadway. So first, if you guys want to talk through your Broadway careers, just kind of like what your experiences have been, so people have a good overview of what you've been doing.
Oh, well, mine is brief because I have just started. I ain't gonna lie.
Which is amazing.
So I graduated from Carnegie Mellon in 2017, and then right there I moved out to New York City and was like, oh my God, I'm in the big city trying to survive and stuff, and auditioned for the tour. And by the grace of God, I got the part as a swing on tour, and we started off in October, I believe, in Cleveland. And so I was on tour for 6 months until I booked my first Broadway show, which was Head Over Heels, and I left in Pittsburgh after 6 months and did that. We did an out of town in San Francisco. I love San Fran. And then came back and told that wonderful story, and then unfortunately that closed, but you know, it was just a powerful story and I was glad we got to do that. And then I got the call to come over to Waitress, and I was like, okay, I know that job. Yeah, but that's pretty much my career so far.
So you're just out of college, so she's got some really relevant stuff for all of us back at UVA to hear. So, but Natasha, if you want to talk about your long career.
Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, I won't tell you the year I graduated, but my Broadway debut was actually The Color Purple, the first one, not the one that just happened, in 2005. I played Sophia. I was the first replacement for Sophia. Felicia Fields originated Sophia, and that's the Oprah role. I always have to say that. But so that was my Broadway debut, and it was extraordinary. It's still one of the best memories and feelings, all those goosebumps and stuff that I get when I talk about my Broadway debut. So Color Purple, and then I won't do these in order because my memory is a little challenged. I did Porgy and Bess with Audra McDonald and Norm Lewis. I played Mariah there. Night with Janis Joplin, I was one of the Joplinaires, and Aretha Franklin, and yep. Chicago is one of my go-tos. That's like my home. I'm back and forth between Chicago and Waitress all the time, and I play Mama Morton there. And I think I'm forgetting something, but that's good.
I mean now you're Becky and Waitress.
Now
so
I'm Becky and Waitress, and I've been here a couple times back and forth, and it's been pretty cool.
And they're both amazing.
Yeah.
And I'll be seeing them tonight, so I'm very excited. So if you guys want to talk a little bit about what being in Waitress means, what it's been like, and then kind of going into maybe the final stages, like maybe either changes in the show or changes in the sentiment and kind of what it feels like starting to close out the show.
You first?
Okay.
Yeah.
Waitress has been a tremendous experience for me. I booked this show I started in October of 2017 rehearsing, and my opening date was November 22nd, 2017. My mother passed on November 19th, 3 days before I was to open, and I was crushed, needless to say, but went home to be with my family and then came back. I went home thinking my mother was sick, not dying, and she actually passed, and I was going to come back and open the show and everything was going to be fine. I thought we were going to just, will her back to good health. And I went home, she passed, I didn't have my put in and all those things that you have right before your show. I came back because my husband had to go to work, and then we had to just gather some things while we planned the funeral and all that stuff. And I was in town on the day I was supposed to open, and something just told me to do that. And so I came back, I did my Wednesday night opening, and then I left, right after that. But I want to tell this little story because it's very dear to me. There was a man at the opening night, of my opening night, in the audience, and he came out into the fan line and signed, and he said, "Oh, I loved you, you were great." I really thought he thought I was Maia because she just closed the show the day before, and I said, oh, well, thank you. And I moved on down the line. He came to the end and he said, no, I saw you and your mom in Boston at this show. And my heart just stopped. And your mother was a little bit confused. You told everybody to look out for her. And, you know, you were just great tonight. And for me, Waitress is a constant reminder that I'm right where I'm supposed to be,
yes.
that my mom is at peace and not confused anymore. And so all of these things come back every time I come into this building, not just when I'm performing in Waitress, and that's what I think theater does for some people. It gives you something. It should educate you, stimulate you, all of those things. But for me, it is a constant reminder that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Even if I'm unhappy at the moment, I am right where I'm supposed to be, and things are always moving, always changing, always getting better. And the themes of this show are the themes of my life. So I love Waitress for that reason, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. And I hope all of you get to see it.
Yes, please. Oh man. So yeah, Waitress for me was like, it taught me the importance of family, and Tour Life was like my first family as a professional gig, and we are going city to city. We are enduring all these different temperatures. We are enduring different and each other. Facts. And I mean, yes, even with our ups, we found our ups or our downs. We found ways to just connect every time. My favorite memory was going to Kansas City and everybody getting ribs at, I forget the place, but it's this huge warehouse. But for some reason, we called in early and we got the whole cast there, and we were just eating together. And that communion was just like so important for us, just to stay connected and like just to know that you have my back, even though we may have had a little spat before, but whatever, because that's just tour life. And then to come here and to be welcomed into another family, but it was so tight and everybody had me. I had one moment where my tights had fallen down to my ankles during the wedding scene, and Stacy at the time, who was playing Nurse Norma, came to me and said, "Sister, let me take you behind the diner real quick and let me help you out." And I was like, this is just like my second week here and somebody already got me, you know? And that's what this show has always taught me, is like, we have each other through thick and thin. We uplift each other. And I mean, the story of female empowerment and having the strength to walk away from a bad situation is very important and hits home to me, because my mother had gone through something similar, not entirely the same, but yeah. So I just love the story. I love our family, and yeah, that's why Waitress is so important to me.
I love that. And something else really important that just happened with Waitress is, for the first time, there were 3 waitresses of color. So Natasha, you were on, so if you want to talk about that, it was Jordan Sparks, and then Jessie Hooker Bailey as Dawn, and then Natasha's Becky, so it was 3 black waitresses, which has never happened in the history of the show. So if you want to talk about what that was like.
It was just simply a reminder, again, that's a theme,
Yeah.
right where you're supposed to be, but also you are constantly putting a picture before someone who's sitting in the audience, and in getting them in touch with who they are, seeing reflections of themselves or people that they know on stage, and hopefully it is an opportunity to grow. It also reminds everybody else that it doesn't matter what color these waitresses are. They could be any color, and that it's open to everyone. These are all of our stories, and that the empowerment message is for everybody. The change message is for everybody. The embracing things that are different is for everybody. So it just was a reminder that I am right where I'm supposed to be, and I can do this no matter what I look like, no matter who I love, no matter, you know, those things that we all somehow take for granted and that certain people just want to sort of squash and push under. It was a message that, no, this is good for me, as good as it is for you, and it doesn't change the story, and it doesn't make it any less or demeaning. It elevates it because it makes it accessible to everyone. So that's what it was for me.
That's wonderful. I mean, I know everybody was so thrilled to see it on social media, so it's really nice to hear that it meant a lot to the fans just as much as it meant a lot to the cast. So obviously you play Becky every night.
Yes.
You've gotten the chance to play Becky sometimes,
Yes,
maybe Becky.
I know, 3 times.
If you guys want to talk about, you probably have a couple more stories, but if you just want to give maybe like a fun Becky story or something about Becky that's like close to you, because I feel like they're going to be very different perspectives on
Of
Becky.
course.
So.
I mean, what I love, or my favorite scene in the entire show, is The Soft Place to Land.
Me too.
It's just, it's that moment of like, we are all going through the hardest things of just, we're just stepping on the edge of change, right? And this is that moment of, we are gonna do it. I have you, you have me, and it's just this soft connection. It doesn't have to be something like so strong that like you gotta do it, girl. No, it's just like I got you. Whenever you're ready to move and do that next step, we're gonna do it, and that's why it's so precious. It's like when I first saw it in the audience, I was crying. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
it's so powerful to have three women coming together and saying, "I have you," and that's not something that's so common in this world. So for me as Becky, when I got to do that, I was just like, that's the best moment. And then of course, like funny moments. I dropped some mugs or something while Larry was talking, and he said I was gonna say like, "Is everything okay back there?" I'm like, this is just my second time, all right?
Yeah.
I'm just getting the blocking right. I forget what's supposed to happen, but it's been a blessing to do it finally at the Brooks Atkinson Theater.
It's so cool.
So, yeah.
It's very exciting.
Really cool.
Yeah.
I got a lot of favorite moments. Certainly Soft Place is my absolute favorite moment in the show, when we're together and we're just being each other's soft place. I mean, we all need one, whether we're in a show or not in a show. Everybody needs a soft place. And once you figure out what that is, you can fight lions, tigers, and bears outside. But when you know what your soft place is and you can get to that place, even if it's just a dream right now, it's not anything present, that song reminds me that there are places that will cushion me, are people that will cushion and protect me and hold me. And so Soft Place is my absolute favorite moment of the show. I do stuff that is funny all the time, and people do stuff that's funny all the time. Just today, I actually had some candy. This might be too much information, but I'm gonna tell you. I had some candy in my bra. And there's a moment when I take out some money that's also in my bra. And I went in to take the money out to give it to Stephanie, who's playing Jenna today, and I pulled out an M&M.
No.
So it kind of messed me up. I mean, I was eating M&Ms before I had to go on stage, and I had to go quickly, so I just stuck them in there really fast. And that's what happened. So that was a funny moment. That was just today. That's fresh and hot off the presses. I am into revealing information. So that's
More to come on that topic.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so we'll see. Well, you have to watch to the end.
Yes, yeah. Stay tuned.
So on that topic, what's your favorite Becky line? Because she's got so many one-liners that make the audience lose it. I quote Becky in my daily life. Like I use Becky quotes when I'm talking to my own friends. So, yeah, I'll be like, "You're really pushing my buttons today. Which one's me?"
Right,
That's a good one.
I'm gonna say, don't forget your 5-minute condom.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a
one.
funny
Yeah.
one.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like the first one. Does your ass ever get tired?
Oh,
Jealous of your... I don't even know what it is. Now.
Does your ass ever get tired of
Jealous of your
The
mouth.
constant crab that comes out of your
Constant
mouth. Okay, no,
mouth.
that's what I'm saying.
That's a good one. I also like the line she says to Dawn when Dawn, she's like, he's a good lover or whatever she says, and no, you wouldn't know it. I mean, you really have to know what comes before it for that to be funny. But that's one of my
Yeah,
favorites.
that is a funny moment.
No, you
That's a
wouldn't
really
know.
funny moment. And, I've always wondered, like, from the audience perspective, I mean, we don't see Becky, like, really sing anything individually in the first half, and then you come out with I Didn't Plan It, and the audience goes crazy. So, like, what is it like, especially if you have, like, a particularly electric audience that night, like, singing that and just seeing, like, the crowd go wild? Like, does that give you a re-energy for the second act, or... Because I've always thought it's such a powerful moment in the audience where they really take Becky more seriously than just, like, a funny character.
I don't really, I mean, not that I don't pay attention to the audience, but in the moment I don't really pay attention to the audience. I'm really, trying to move through whatever it is I'm feeling that day, Tasha's feeling, so that Becky can embody that for Jenna and for the story. So I really don't pay attention afterwards and after the show. It is incredibly rewarding to see the people outside or see the people or feel what they're giving you in here. But actually, in the moment, I'm not paying attention to everybody else. But afterwards, I'm loving all the love and all the attention. It's just a great thing.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say the same thing. It's like I really don't want to pay attention too much of like what they're doing.
Totally.
Just because this is Jenna's moment of like, we gonna kickstart it. You gotta do what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And how am I going to convey that? Because I've been going through so much stuff, and you just think about like, what has Becky lost and what is she claiming back in that moment, and like how is that going to help Jenna move forward so she can claim her life back?
And stop judging me.
And stop judging me. And
but
that's
look, turn the mirror
No.
around.
Yeah, look at yourself.
It's the toughest love, and I think that's what's so important, and that's what's electrifying. And then if somebody gets to recognize that, it's like, well, thank you. You know, it's about this story. You know, so yeah, I love that.
Well, so on an opposite note, if you could play a different character in the show, who would it be? Because you get to play, like, you get to be a swing, so you get to be all the ensemble and Becky, but outside of that realm for you, and then obviously not anyone who's not Becky. Gender regardless, like anything. So all possibilities.
I'd like to play Jenna. I want to play Jenna. I think Jenna could be a full-figured me. Jenna. Maybe I'll close the show. I don't know.
maybe that's it. Maybe she's switching. Maybe after Jordan ends her run, we're actually getting a switch.
Maybe.
And then maybe Caitlyn is going to come out and be Becky.
You know
I mean,
what?
you know what?
Now, I don't know if y'all saw the, what you call that, karaoke thing the other night. We
I
actually
did see
did
that.
And I played Jenna, and Jordan
You were
played
good.
Becky, and Hayden, one of the fans, played Dawn.
I mean, you never
I know that's not a complete sentence. But right in. Tell them. You wouldn't mind seeing me as Jenna.
I mean, listen. Only if I get to be up there, just like in the background.
Come on,
like, I'll hold some pies. I won't
on,
even sing.
no.
I'll just be in the
We'll
background.
teach you the choreography. Actually,
I mean, I'm in. Tune in. Our next video is going to be a choreography tutorial seeing if I can be a waitress. So I also had a fan question from a friend of mine. Her name is Neve. Shout out to Neve in Dublin.
Hey, Neve.
She wanted to know if you could be a pie in the show. Which pie would you be and why?
Ooh.
Boy, I just had a naughty.
What do you say? What do you
I ain't gonna say
We're
it.
into
Okay.
revealing
That's
information
too much.
here,
I'll
Natasha.
say in the dark chocolate pie.
Oh,
I mean, it's mysterious, it's dark and creamy, like.
I mean, hey.
And I mean, I know it's like probably Nurse Norma's like favorite pie. That's what I think.
Oh, that's so
yeah,
true.
It's
Yeah.
just, oh, and I just love dark chocolate. That's all.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I
Can't
love
argue with
pie.
that.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say I just want some cheesecake or some lime flavored pie, but I don't know that we have one of those.
I think in
But
the
I love
cookbook there's, like,
pineapples.
key lime.
I love pineapples. The pineapple upside down.
Oh,
It's
now I know why.
kind of flirty, but that would probably be my favorite.
You have to come see the show now to understand how funny that is. I mean, you know. So I think Natasha, I think you have a little announcement that you want to tell the viewers.
Now listen, I don't know that this is the case, but I was just brainstorming today. You know, in several days, I brainstorm a lot, and I was wondering who's gonna play. You know, who's gonna close. Now I've already mentioned who my pick is for Jenna. You never know who that might be, but also I was thinking that maybe someone named some originals were coming back. You know, Caitlyn is going to be here, and we got Al coming up. He's not original, but he's coming up to play a couple of months or something, a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And Drew is who I was thinking about. So Drew, did somebody say Drew?
I
Drew
think
might
Drew.
be coming back as Dr. Palmer.
I mean, you all should know him because he was our very first Broadway Talks Back guest.
That's right. And
So-
maybe we're revealing some information.
So maybe you should be sharing this video on social media because now you know maybe who's closing Waitress.
Exactly. I
So-
don't know about closing. Now he might not be closing, but he's coming back.
Well, how much longer is
Oh,
that?
is that? I mean, maybe.
Maybe. Nothing's for certain here.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. This has
You're
been
welcome.
a blast. So
Who
fun
are you?
having you guys. And if you could give any last words of advice to like college students who are either in the industry or just like theater lovers like myself, so either side of either how to pursue theater or continue supporting theater as they go out and graduate, I think that would resonate a lot with our students.
I will say be kind to yourself and do not compare your journey to other people. Like, accept the process that it's going to be hard at first because, hey, you just got out of school and you're trying to figure out how this whole business works. You're finally doing it, which is like hooray for you for finally doing it. But just be kind to yourself through that entire process. And the second you start looking at other people is when you start to lose sight of yourself and like what talent you have to give to others. So like seriously, be kind, stay focused. That's all I got.
That's a good one.
That's
I'm
good,
going to
yeah.
piggyback on that and just talk about celebrating yourself. Celebrating each accomplishment that you have, even if it's just, I stayed in the bed all day and rested my body. You know what I'm saying? Just celebrate yourself. Celebrate when you get an audition. Celebrate whether you get the part or not. Work on the journey of being okay with where you are, so that when the blessing comes for the next level, then you're able to embrace that. You're able to see that, and you're able to not take it for granted and remember those days when you weren't working, or when you didn't have an audition, or when nobody knew your name, or when you couldn't get a call, so that you are constantly grateful for every opportunity that it is, even if it's just opening your eyes in the morning, just being grateful for who you are and celebrating who you are. If you're not in this industry and you want to keep supporting it, we would not have anything to do if nobody supported it, if nobody came, if nobody helped. Some of us remember stuff that we got to do the rest of the day. So just be as active as you can, as involved as you can be, and gracious. Just be gracious, whether you're performing or whether you're helping or assisting a performer or just loving on theater or sitting in the audience. And when people show you something other than that and they're not as nice or as kind as they should be, love on them anyway, because something is hurting in that particular person. And so to heal us all, we have to be more gracious. So that's
I love that. You guys are so positive. Such a good way to end our video for our UVA students. So hopefully we'll be seeing these ladies down at UVA maybe.
Yes,
We'll be
yes.
working on
Can
that.
I say
We're working
something?
on it. Yes.
This doesn't have anything to do with Waitress, but I am on Godfather of Harlem. It's a TV show on Epix.
Oh yes.
Can y'all
Self-promo.
watch that?
Watch
And
it.
yeah, I'm sorry for the self-promotion, but hey,
No.
in these days of socialness,
Yes.
we have to self-promote. Also,
Yes.
I'm on one episode. I'm supposed to come back next season, but if you want to feel the need to ask where is Pearl
Okay.
or what happened to Pearl,
Okay.
hashtag,
Pearl.
we're going to start that, okay? I'm right,
Okay.
UVA. I need y'all to,
All right.
pump up Pearl.
We got
Pearl's gonna
this.
come back.
All right, Pearl, we got this. And I'll drop their links to their social media in the description. So again, make sure to see Waitress before January 5th to see these ladies rock it on stage.
That's
and
right.
we'll see you all back at UVA soon for another Broadway Talks Back. All right,
Bye-bye.
bye.